Hello, friends and family of TikTok. I'm here to go ahead and tell you story time part 4. Okay, so I met Chris in November of 2006. I was going through my separation with my husband, getting ready to divorce him. Okay, so in January, I moved to a new apartment away from my husband, my ex-husband. I was convinced to allow him to live with me, to help me pay the bills, babysit Ethan, just have somebody there to kind of keep my ex-husband away. Well, it didn't take much convincing. I was willing to help anybody out. That's the type of person I was. So I allowed him to sleep in the upstairs bedroom, which is a master bedroom that has its own restroom. And I stayed downstairs across the hall from my son's room. Okay, so for like the first couple weeks, I watched him around my son Ethan. And my Ethan loved him, was drawn to him. My son was learning how to walk at this time. He would fall a couple times, not very far because they're so little. Just learning how to walk. After watching my son around him, I began to trust that he would take care of my son. We also babysitted his brother's son, I think it was. Yeah. When his brother and the brother's girlfriend had to go do whatever it was that they were doing. Anyways, so I started to sell drugs again. Because one, I had somebody there to take care of my son. I was able to get that extra money that I needed. I would leave him with my son quite often. I still had a drinking problem. Remember that. There were times where I went out a couple times with my cousin to a club to enjoy myself, and he agreed to watch Ethan. We had a maintenance man that lived right next to us, okay? So the walls are pretty much paper thin, and he had surround sound in the upstairs bedroom. So you could have it real low, and just the vibration of the surround sound, like it would irritate the maintenance guy. So he was calling the cops on us constantly. He was also coming and knocking on the door. Susan, our manager, kind of told him, hey, you need to back off. It seems like you're just obsessed with them. The police officer came, looked in the house. I was like, come in. There's no loud noise. And he was like, I was just at the other apartment and it sounds really loud. So we brought him in, and he looked around and he was like, okay, it's not. It's just the surround sound. So he left. Anyways, I started seeing little marks on my son Ethan. I would see like little bruises on his legs, and he would say that, he forgot to close the gate on the stairs and that he fell down. He had a little mark on his cheek, and that's where he said that he had hit. So I just shrugged it off. My son didn't show any signs of being scared of him, nothing. I took my son to his 1-year appointment, which was like the beginning of April of 2007. And I asked my doctor, the pediatrician, look, are these bruises normal? And they were on his legs and that one on his face, on his cheek, and he was like, look, Juliana, kids are gonna fall. Your son is at the age where he's learning to walk. It's fine. I was like, okay. You know, the pediatrician says it. I don't see any kind of signs of abuse or anything like that. My son don't seem scared, so I keep going. Well, then on April 20th, my ex-husband finally called and said he wanted to build a relationship with his son. So I take him to a mutual person's house, and we stayed the night. Okay, so he can have time with his son. Me and Ethan go home the next day, and they call me to do another drug run. So I tell him, look, give him a bath. I'm gonna go run real quick to go pick up some money, as well as drop off some dope. I'll be back no more than an hour. He was like, fine, I'll do that. So 30 minutes of me being gone, I picked up one person's money and I was on my way to take the other person to go get $100. Then my ex-husband calls saying he wants to give me some money for gas. You know, he wants to try to help out. So I tell him, okay, where do you want me to meet you? He's like, meet me at a Giant gas station. I was like, okay. So then a few minutes later, Chris calls me and he says that my son is unresponsive, that he's not breathing, he's seizing, that he fell out of the tub and he hit his head on the toilet. I told him, did you call 911? He's like, no. So I hang up on him and I call 911. I let them know where I'm located, which was towards the South Valley, and we lived in the North Valley area. And I rushed there. I'm driving like 80 miles an hour on a regular road. I call my ex-husband and I tell him, look, I cannot meet you at the gas station. I'm on my way to the house. Meet me there. Something happened to Ethan. Chris saying that he's fallen, that he's seizing. I called 911. So we all show up at the same time. Me, Leandro, as well as the fire department. I let him in through the gate. And Chris is coming down with my son and he's like seizing. I'm wondering what's going on. They're working on him right then and there. I'm freaking out. I am freaking out. I'm just right there with my son. They tell me, because I was so freaked out and panicking, I was told to follow the ambulance. So me and Chris run upstairs. We get his diaper bag that I had already had ready. We run to the Suburban. My ex-husband gets in his car and we all follow the ambulance. They are going regular speed limit, no lights on, no rushing. I worked as an EMT, so I know that if there's an emergency, you're gonna scoop and go. They didn't. We get to the UNM hospital and we get there and I'm asking what's going on with my son, what's going on with my son. Finally, they call us to the back, all three of us. And they say that my son had passed away of massive head trauma. I fall to the floor. I cannot believe it. Chris picks me up. The whole family is called. The police are called. And they take me, my husband, my ex-husband, and Chris down to the sheriff's office. They investigate us. They let my ex-husband go at midnight. They let me go at 4 in the morning, and they arrest Chris for child abuse resulting in death. Stay tuned for part 5.